Boom! And welcome to the Big Honker Podcast today. Brought to you by Boss Shot Shells at BossShotShells.com. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver.
That's right. April the 9th.
You gonna give me a hint?
Your coach was a member of this.
The Battle of the Bulge.
Nope. The Bataan Death March starts.
Oh, he was Bataan. That's right. You're
Troops surrender in Bataan, Philippines, in the largest ever U.S. surrender. On April 9th, 1942, Major General Edward P. King Jr. surrendered at Bataan, Philippines, against General Douglas MacArthur's orders. 78,000 troops, 66,000 Filipinos, and 12,000 Americans, the largest contingent of U.S. soldiers ever to surrender, are taken captive by the Japanese.
Harry's dad was one of those.
He was. So, let me scroll down here. Just 1 second. Excuse me. So I didn't realize that of the 75,000 people, 600 Americans passed away.
In captivity?
Yes.
I'm actually surprised it was that low.
At least 600 Americans and 5,000 Filipinos died because of the extreme brutality of their captors, starved, beaten, kicked them on the way. And then those that were too weak to walk were bayoneted. Those who survived were taken by rail from San Fernando to POW camps, where another 16,000 Filipinos and another 1,000 Americans would die from disease, mistreatment, and starvation. So I guess if you put it all together, 1,500, 1,600 Americans and then 21,000 Filipinos.
I think they took MacArthur out of there. I think they got him out like a day or two before that happened, if my memory is correct.
MacArthur.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, don't surrender.
Yes, but he had left a couple of days before then.
So they actually got there the day after the day after the Pearl Harbor, the day after Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. On December 7th, the Japanese invasion of the Philippines began. Within a month, the Japanese had captured Manila, the capital of the Philippines, and the American and Filipino defenders were forced to retreat to the Bataan Peninsula. For the next 3 months, as the United States began its entry into World War II, the combined U.S.-Filipino army held out despite a lack of naval and air support. Finally, on April 9th, forces were crippled by starvation and disease. General P. King Jr. Surrendered 75,000. It's about a 65-mile march. And then, like I said earlier, if you were too weak to walk, they'd stuck a bayonet in you.
Yeah, the Japanese were brutal people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, brutal. What they did to the Chinese for all those, they were brutal people. They were.
Survivors of the Bataan Death March have reported countless atrocities suffered during the march and later imprisonments, including starvation, random beatings and stabbings, and lack of any water, shelter, or basic first aid supplies. One of the POWs had a ring on, and the Japanese guard attempted to get the ring off. Said one U.S. prisoner he couldn't get it off, and he took a machete and cut the man's wrist off. And when he did that, of course, the man bleeding was profusely. He tried to help, but when I looked back, I saw a Japanese guard sticking a bayonet through his stomach.
Yeah, they were terrible.
So they actually got the guy on war crimes. After the war, a military tribunal tried Lieutenant General Hama Marshua. I'm sure I screwed that up. Commander of the Japanese invasion forces in the Philippines. He was held responsible for the Death March, war crimes, and he was executed by firing squad on April 3rd, 1946. So
that's why there was a whole lot of not give a shit being broken by Americans when we dropped those two bombs.
Right.
you know, if you had a loved one that was in the USS Arizona or any of this other stuff, you really didn't give two shits if we dropped that bomb. And I don't blame them. Ended the war.
Sidney Stewart, he was a survivor. He tells, he has a memoir, Give Us This Day. Stewart was a 20-year-old medic during the Battle of Bataan. He vividly recounts men drinking out of ditches full of maggots just to stay alive. He had to bury dozens of his comrades, including friends, during and after the march.
What's the name of that book?
Give Us This Day.
I think I have that book, and that's
Sidney
the one.
Stewart.
Harry's dad has got a memoir wrote in it,
Oh, really?
and it's got his name and everything. Harry Steen Sr. is in that. I'm gonna
Check it out.
gonna
Give
look
Us
at it when
This
I get
Day is
home.
what it's called.
I think that's the book that I have. That's Harry's dad's actual book.
Oh, wow. That'd be pretty cool. All right. Fellow that died today.
Okay,
DMX passed on. Left
is this a rapper?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm not a rap guy, so
He's a rapper.
okay. You're looking at me like I should know this.
You
guy.
should know this. Earl Simmons turned DMX, dies at the age of 50, April 9th, 2021.
Who's the picture of him?
DMX?
I don't even know who he is.
Bald black guy.
Okay, that's 32% of the population. I'm a bald white guy.
He's a bald black guy. So his music career begins in the 90s. He's got some pretty decent music if you're into the rap game.
So there's a chance I've heard some of his music probably. I
Yes,
just didn't
Party
realize
Up in
it.
Here.
I don't know.
Party. You've heard it. You've heard a lot of his stuff.
I'm sure I probably have. I just don't know the name of it.
DMX.
Did he sing sitting in the bar getting a little tipsy or whatever that's called?
That's Shabuzi.
Okay.
First, he's got Rough Riders Anthem, and then you got Party Up in Here. You've heard it. I know you have.
Sounds like about New Orleans. Oh, yeah, I have heard that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Up in Here.
When did that come out?
Up in Here. That came out in. That was his third album, 1999. It was his third album to debut at #1 on the Billboard 200. Its most popular single, Party Up in Here, became his first top 10 hit on an R&B chart.
Well, good for DMX.
He was arrested over 30 times. Filed
But
bankruptcy.
we're stereotyping, huh?
I'm not. I'm just reading the man's bio.
Arrested 30 times. Good
Over
Lord.
DMX filed bankruptcy 3 times. First in 2013, citing his child support obligations as his primary claim.
Okay, well,
So,
rest in peace, DMX.
Yeah, he was in jail over 30 times in his life for various offenses, including possession of weapons, robbery, assault, carjacking, animal cruelty, reckless driving, driving under the influence, unlicensed driving, drug possession, parole violation,
Okay, just
failure to pay child support, pretending to be a federal agent, and tax evasion. So, not only was he a rapper, he was a shitty criminal.
see if I brung out black, bald, rapper, arrested 32 times, died early, I would be stereotyping.
Yeah.
Don't seem like he'd have a really good life.
On April 2nd, 2021, at approximately 11 p.m., Simmons was rushed to the hospital. He was in critical condition following a heart attack, possibly from a drug overdose.
Oh, and he died of a drug overdose too. So see, there you go.
We're hitting a lot.
Yeah,
We're checking a lot of
yes,
boxes.
we are right here.
Checking a lot of boxes. On the morning of April 9th, 2021, Simmons lost functionality in multiple essential organs, reportedly his liver, kidneys, and lungs. Yeah, you can't go on without those. He was pronounced dead shortly after at the age of 50.
Oh, God bless him. Rest in peace.
So it was actually in July. It came out. It was a heart attack, probably from the drugs, but whatever.
We checked every box on the deal.
Don't mean to stereotype. Now, my fellow that was
Was he raised by a single mom? That would be the cherry on top.
I closed all of his stuff
Okay.
out, but I'm probably going to say there's a good shot of it.
Andy, that's terrible.
I'm just
You're
going to say
stereotyping.
there's probably a pretty good shot
Okay.
of it. My man that was born today,
Give me a hint.
anything I say is going to give it away. Like, he's a big guy. He's a big name. He made nudie magazines cool.
Larry Flint or Hugh Hefner?
Hugh Hefner.
Okay.
Hugh Hefner. 1952. He was born in 1926, April 9th, 1926. But in 1952, he left his job as a copywriter for Esquire after he was denied a $5 raise.
It's a great story on him, too.
1953, he took out a mortgage loan of $600 and raised another $8,000 from 45 investors, including $1,000 from his mother. He is quoted as saying, not because she believed in the venture, but because she believed in her son. So he started Playboy with $8,600.
In 1956, though.
1953.
Now, that's a lot of money back then, though. That's probably equivalent to $250,000 today.
Well, I guess it'd be 1952, 1953, December 1953. The first issue is published. Do you know what made this so?
Was this the Marilyn Monroe one?
It is the Marilyn Monroe.
And they bought that for nothing.
Yes. So she actually didn't have any say in it.
No, she had sold her rights.
She had sold her rights. The photographer, he bought the picture. The photos were actually taken in 1949. She had no rights to the photos. He went to the photographer that did have the rights, bought them, and then that's what he used to launch it.
That made Norma Jean.
Never met one another.
Oh, really?
Never met one another.
Damned.
Hugh Hefner and Marilyn Monroe never crossed paths, but he bought the crypt next to hers in Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery in 1992 for $75,000. Spending eternity next to Marilyn is too sweet to pass up.
He was a very sick, weird dude.
Yes, it sounds like
a really
lot more stuff's coming out. A lot of, I don't know. Man, it's pretty bad.
But you know what, though?
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of like I'm not going to go as
the
far
girls
as to
that
say
are playing the victim, though, I don't have any
I don't agree
sympathy
with
for
that.
them because that's how they got their fame.
Sure.
Like the chick that was married to the football player.
Kendra.
Yeah, Basket. Was that her last name for a while?
Yeah, Hank Basket.
Yeah. She's coming out now and about all the sick shit she had to do. I was like, well, you know what? You didn't have to do that, but you sure took all the fame that went with it.
Right.
You know, there is a cost both ways, and whether it's right or wrong, you knowingly did what you did.
Billy Bob has a line in Landman. She took the easy route, which is the longest road, or something like that. She took the short road, which is always the longest route. And there's a trade-off.
Yes, and that's what it was. And those, like, you can't tell me that Pamela Anderson, the best thing she didn't do was become a Playboy model.
Right.
I mean, her life could be shitty because of Tommy Lee's big hog or whatever it was, but that's what made her who she is. Mm-hmm. So the women in Hollywood that use that as an excuse, the poor little girl working in Thailand that's at a bar that's making a nickel a day, having to do that shit to survive, I feel sorry for that girl. Mm-hmm. The lady Sharon Stone, I don't feel sorry for them.
He was sued multiple times, especially back in the 50s when it was the conservative and day class A. So multiple lawsuits that he overcame, and I mean he was ahead of his time.
The Playboy brand in the 70s then had the Playboy clubs and stuff. Was an amazing time for them when the Harry Bush type deals. Mm-hmm. That was a big time for them.
Yeah,
I mean every kid grew up snickering when they got to see a Playboy magazine.
But it said here he didn't want it to feel cheap.
He didn't. I don't think his magazine was not
right, but that's kind of how he made it. Is he didn't want it just to be another skin magazine. Like he wanted it to have class and as much dignity as you can get in the thing. The articles.
The old saying in the 70s was,
get the articles.
That's right. I get it for the articles.
Right.
Well, you don't read Life. No.
So anyway, he was right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm sure he was a sleazeball. Brilliant man.
He was a hell of a marketer.
Yep.
Larry Flint was a sleazeball.
Yeah.
But so was Hugh Hefner.
Right.
There wasn't much difference between them personally outside of their magazine.
Right.
Or is Larry Flint the one that had Hustler?
I think so.
And there's the guy that had Penthouse. I can't remember his name either.
Yeah.
But anyways, they were all the same.
Those were all day class A.
They all came from the same thing.
Day class A. Playboy's where the white collar guy goes to get his nudies. So anyway,
I didn't know very many white collar older guys, but I saw a lot of Playboys. But I was sure happy when we got to see a Penthouse.
Yeah, a whole different ballgame. All right, that's all I got. Bataan Death March, Hugh Hefner, DMX. God rest them all. A lot of people died in today's episode.
Yes, they did.
All right, love you. Bye. Watch for deer.
See you. Bye.